Hi, I'm Robert Reynolds. Like thousands of homeowners, you've decided to put your house up for sale. And your premier question is, how can I get the best price for my home in the least amount of time? When homeowners decide to sell, they usually want to put the for sale sign up the very next day. However, the demonstration you just watched is a prime example of what typically can happen when you aren't prepared to sell your house. What we're going to show you is what you do before the sign goes up can make a world of difference in the final sale of your home. While there are three basic factors that determine the actual price of a home, only one of these you control. First, you've heard it before, and it's true. Location, location, location. Not just the location of your home in the community, but the specific location of your house relative to such things as busy streets, schools, and parks. The second factor is market condition. This includes interest rates, the local economy, current competition, and most importantly, the recent sale prices of homes similar to yours in the area. And finally, the conditions and amenities of your home. Is your home well maintained? Have you added upgrades? In other words, is your house in move-in condition or is there work to be done? It is this last pricing factor which is the only factor over which the seller has any control. Realtors and advertisements can bring buyers to your home, but only you control what the buyers experience when they get there. Our goal is to share with you a simple, practical, and effective method that'll help you showcase your home so that it stands out as a great find instead of getting overlooked as just more of the same. To explain this process, let me introduce real estate professional Lynn Smith.
Hi. As a real estate agent, I've shown hundreds of homes, and the truth is most of us keep a comfortable home. We have kids, we have pets, and certainly plenty of dirty dishes. There's nothing wrong with this for everyday living. But when it comes to selling your home, the rules change. When preparing your home for sale, your ultimate concern should be to set the stage so the buyers can see themselves living in your home.
In our consumer world of 15-second sound bites and commercial advertisements, it only takes a few seconds for a buyer to form an impression about your home and to decide whether or not they want to live there. First impressions are both immediate and lasting, and rarely does a buyer with a bad first impression ever go on to make an offer.
So let's start with a question. What do you think turns a buyer off most when looking at a home? Well, here's what real estate professionals say are the 5 biggest mistakes sellers make. Homes with unusual or dated decor, homes with poor curb appeal, cluttered and overcrowded homes, homes that are dirty and poorly maintained, and the #1 buyer turnoff, odors, especially pet and smoke odors. To help my clients who want to sell their homes understand this buyer's point of view, I like to ask them to start by being buyers for a day.
We went out and we must have seen at least 10 houses in one day, and they all started blurring together. We couldn't remember which house was which, so we came up with this thing where we started naming little nicknames and things. I remember one house we went in, it was like the cat house, had all those cats everywhere, hair was everywhere, remember that?
Yes.
And then there was one that had this really strange green carpet, so we named it the Green Carpet House.
And there was the cigar house.
Oh,
Oh, that smell.
that was bad. That was a bad smell. One house was a fruit tree house. It had fruit trees everywhere, and all I could think about is I can't keep all that fruit picked up off the ground. And then I noticed at that time that we were just looking at all different things that had nothing to do with the property.
Yeah, we found ourselves like checking out all their stuff. And I remember that one house that had that big teapot collection? Yeah. And the whole time I was looking at it, I kept thinking, I hate tea.
And then I realized that people are going to start coming through our house, and I didn't want our house to look like one of those. And I kind of thought, gosh, what nicknames are they going to start naming our house?
You've spent years, maybe a lifetime, making your house your home, and now it's time to sell. The following 4-step process will help you transform your home from everyday living to ready for market. The 4 steps we'll be sharing are: take yourself out of the house, update when necessary, invite the buyers in, and finally, live the seller's lifestyle.
The main purpose of this step is to uncover the shell of your house. Undoubtedly, this step requires the most time and effort, but it is essential to help the buyer focus on your home and not on you personally. Remember what you first loved about your house when you bought it? It probably wasn't the previous owner's furniture or decorating style. Anything that expresses who you are as an individual is a potential distraction to a buyer. Collections and photographs are the most common culprits that make it difficult for a buyer to see your house as their future home. I remember one home I showed where the owner collected medieval weapons. Certainly, his collection generated a lot of conversation, but totally distracted the buyers from seriously considering his house. So, to start taking yourself out of the house, you should literally pack up your belongings. All buyers want a house with as much space as possible, so you want to remove up to half of everything in your house, especially things in your closets and storage areas. Whatever does remain should be impeccably organized to show the buyer there's plenty of room for whatever they have.
It was a really bittersweet process. We'd been in that house for about 8 years. We'd even brought Garrett home to that house.
Yeah, there was a lot of things in that house that had a lot of sentimental value. In fact, we had to go out and rent a storage shed because after the yard sale there was so much stuff left over that we wanted to keep, but we knew it was going to make the house look small. And besides, we figured it was going to give us a jump start on the move anyways.
I started in with the closets because that's where I have a tendency to stuff and jam and hide things. And then we got rid of lots of clothes, and the garage sales gave them away. We really only kept things that we only needed for maybe the next 3 months.
Or realistically, we knew it was never going to fit again anyway.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Okay.
Anyway, I went out and bought a whole bunch of big plastic tubs and started in with our son's room and threw all his toys and things in there and kind of started working my way through the house and going through closets and putting tablecloths, sheets, towels, blankets, those kind of things, just cleaning it all out. We did put some furniture in storage and tons of books, personal papers.
My treadmill.
Oh yeah, my snow babies.
And that big stack of magazines that I've been swearing I was going to read. And those half-dead plants.
Yeah, my half-dead plants. Anyway, it started kind of looking sterile, kind of generic, like a hotel room.
When you uncover the shell of your house, it can feel a little empty. But remember, what feels empty to a seller feels spacious to a buyer. So, as you work to take yourself out of the house, you also need to remember to take your dirt with you. As we said earlier, a dirty home is a huge turnoff to potential buyers. Think if you went to a hotel room and it was dirty. In the same way, a home on the market has to be squeaky clean. While this may sound exhausting, you almost can't be too clean. You'll want to pay close attention to any place a buyer will touch, such as doorknobs, light switches, and countertops. And your kitchens and bathrooms have to sparkle because these rooms represent the most personal areas of the home. I'll let you in on a realtor's secret. Buyers frequently look for dirt on door frames, window sills, baseboards, and air vents to judge how well a home has been maintained. You can use fresh paint in areas that you can't get clean. And just before the sign goes up, clean your carpets and make sure every window shines inside and out. Finally, as you're taking yourself out of the house, you'll want to repair the evidence that you've been living there. Almost everyone's house has a list of things like drywall repairs, old caulking, stained grout, or a leaky faucet. Well, now is the time to get those things fixed. A home in poor repair is a bargain hunter's dream and can raise concern in a buyer's mind about how well a home has been maintained.
Now that you've successfully taken yourself out of the house, it's time to make an informed decision about how much and where to spend the money on those updates and bigger improvements. Remember to balance your financial investment with what you know about market conditions, current competition, and your estimated asking price. In other words, updates can help you sell your house, but don't always expect to get back dollar for dollar what you invest.
No seller wants to spend any more money than necessary, but updating your home in the right ways can have a powerful impact on the saleability of your home. If you're trying to prioritize your spending, I suggest the following: interior and exterior paint, flooring, kitchens, and bathrooms. Paint is a great investment because it is very affordable and fresh paint can make a house look new. When picking colors, however, make sure to choose something that's neutral, something that others can decorate around. Think about replacing carpet, tile, or linoleum if your floors are stained or in especially poor condition. You could bypass replacing a bad carpet and instead offer a closing incentive or flooring allowance to potential buyers. While this may be appealing to some buyers, it is a double-edged sword. Most buyers will expect a greater allowance than the actual cost of the update to compensate them for their time and their trouble. Also, you may lose buyers who just can't see past your current flooring. As far as kitchens and baths are concerned, changing a dated countertop, regrouting a worn shower, or installing a new tub can go a long, long way in adding value to your home. A few other high-impact, low-cost ideas that will give you the most bang for your buck might include a new screen door, new light fixtures, new plumbing fixtures, closet organizers, or even a new appliance.
The next stage of preparing your house for sale is invite the buyer into every area of your home. This is the finishing step that ensures anyone looking at your house feels welcome, from the front door to the master bedroom.
Well, when you're out, it's actually kind of uncomfortable because you know that you're going to go into a house where somebody else lives, and you kind of feel like you're intruding, especially if you walk in and it's dark and the doors aren't open all the way. You kind of get up there and you don't know if you should go in or not because somebody might be sleeping in there or something.
Well, then there's other houses that we felt very comfortable going into. The lights were on, there was jelly beans sitting on the counter. Someone had kind of prepared for us. We felt really comfortable looking around.
Yeah, kind of like they were expecting us.
Welcoming the buyer starts at the curb where the buyers first encounter your home. Consider curb appeal. It's not uncommon for buyers to drive right by a house because they didn't like the look of the outside. Begin by really evaluating your front yard. What do you notice? Does your house stand out from the others on the block? The quickest and easiest way to make sure your landscape looks fresh and is well maintained is to trim and prune everything. Add a few new flowering plants and some beauty bark. My number one suggestion is that you make sure your front door and entryway look absolutely perfect. This is where buyers stand still for the longest amount of time before the doors opened, and they notice everything. Adding a pot of flowers by the front door and a new welcome mat announces that this house is special. On the inside, start with the sniff test. Remember, bad odors are the number one buyer turnoff, and as harsh as this sounds, most people are desensitized to the smells in their own homes. Smoke, pets, cooking, and musty smells are common offenders. Next, you'll want to make sure that each room welcomes the buyer and is visually pleasing at each point of entry. I like to offer these tips to help you accomplish this. First, and you may have already done this when you took yourself out, remove everything out of the room. Second, choose the focal point in the room, such as a window, bookcases, a fireplace, or a bed. Next, arrange the furniture around that focal point, keeping in mind a smooth traffic flow. While your house is on the market, you'll often need to place furniture so it looks good, even if it doesn't function perfectly for everyday life. Finally, to add color and brighten your rooms, pick just a few of your best accessories and maybe a couple of new ones to accent the room. Some affordable ideas that can really make a difference are new plants, new throw pillows and blankets, new towels in bathrooms, maybe even tied with a ribbon, slip covers for worn furniture. Candles are warm and inviting, a fireplace display, a fresh bowl of fruit, and a fresh vase of flowers.
With all this hard work, your house looks fantastic. The for sale sign is up and you're ready for buyers. Now, how can you really showcase your home? The following showing tips are trade secrets and always make a buyer feel welcome.
When you know a buyer is coming, make sure you have every light on in every room. including your closets and bathrooms, and keep all of the drapes and blinds open. Buyers overwhelmingly prefer light and bright houses. Next, make sure the doors to every room are wide open and that you leave the doors to your closets slightly ajar so buyers will feel comfortable looking into every area of your home. Don't forget to maintain the temperature of your house at a comfortable level, even when you're not there. I live in Arizona, and I can tell you how refreshing it is for a buyer to get out of a hot car and step into a nice, cool home. Pets, especially dogs, should be removed or at least confined to a side yard or a kennel. A nice touch is to post a pet alert notice so visitors will be prepared before they meet Fido face to face. Another one of my favorite suggestions is to place a dish of candy on a table. On special occasions, like an open house, you may want to pop some cookies or cinnamon rolls into the oven before buyers arrive, so the pleasant aromas will linger. Soothing music in the background is a nice touch. And finally, and most importantly, leave the house whenever buyers are coming. After all, they can't see it as their home if you're sitting in it or lurking in the backyard. You know, there are countless examples of ideas you can use to put finishing touches on your house. Just remember, though, that's exactly what they are, finishing touches. The wonderful smell of fresh baked bread will never make up for a dirty kitchen, stained carpet, or an overcrowded room.
I think the hardest part and the thing that caught me most by surprise was the fact that after we put all this time and energy into the house, it started looking like what we thought it always could or should or imagined it would look like. And then that first week, we had 2 people come and look, and neither one of them generated any offers. And then I realized, oh my goodness, how long are we going to have to keep this up? How long do we have to keep the house looking this good? I mean, I wasn't sure I could do it. We have a very active lifestyle, and I have a very active 2-year-old.
Welcome to what's called the seller's lifestyle. The biggest challenge in selling your home is actually living in the house while it's for sale. Buyers can come at any time. So how do you manage? And how do you make sure that when they come knocking, you're ready?
Well, I suggest that every seller make a ready, set, go list. These are the things you check or do before someone comes to look at your home. Your list will be unique to you, but you should take into account our top 5 buyer turnoffs, as well as our showing tips, and you should be able to complete it in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Let's see. First thing I did was get a bucket, and I put in the bucket just a whole bunch of supplies, paper towels, all-purpose cleaner, window cleaner, those kind of things. And then when we get the call that said we'd have to be out in about 15 minutes, we'd grab it and start working down our ready, set, go list. The first thing we do is go through the house and make sure that all the blinds were up, and all the lights were on, and all the doors were open. And then he got the messy part.
Pick up the dog messes, put the dog in the run.
And then I make sure that there was no dishes in the sinks, and I would clean the glass table and that little window by the door.
And then make sure every toilet's flushed and the seat was down.
And inside the shower, I'd make sure all those bottles of shampoo and conditioner and stuff were put away, and I kind of wiped down the tub real good. And then I'd wipe the sink and the fixtures, and then I'd cover up the laundry basket with a towel to make sure that no one could see that dirty stuff in the laundry basket.
The last thing I would do would be sweep the front porch. After everything was done and we went through the whole list, and you know, it really only took about 15 minutes. We'd go out to the front door just to make that one last walk through.
To make sure that we didn't miss anything.
Because we did have to get pretty creative sometimes at the last minute where we'd stash stuff, the trunk of my car, the clothes dryer. In fact, she doesn't know this, but a couple times I stashed all the dirty clothes under our bed.
But we knew that in the end, our house looked great.
So that's it. Preparing your house for sale and being ready for buyers on a moment's notice is this simple. Take yourself out of the house by removing a majority of your personal clutter, by cleaning and by repairing. Next, make any updates that are necessary. Third, invite buyers into every area of your home with those finishing touches. And finally, achieve the seller's lifestyle by putting your Ready, Set, Go list into action.
Okay, there's no way around it. Getting your home ready for sale is hard work, and keeping it in show condition while you're living in it is a great challenge. However, all the hard work and effort you put forth before the sign goes up will be well worth it and will showcase your pride of ownership in your home.